Fellas, what's good? We're back with a new vid. You already know it is the crack ass dawn. Just kidding, it's 9 o'clock. But like I said, Sunday lift. At the end of last video, here we are. Sunday lift is a Monday lift. But it's been a minute since we had a Sunday lift, and I'm ready. I'm tuned up for it. I always look forward to the Sunday lift because not too many people are in that gym, let alone on a Sunday. You know what I mean? There's a lot you could be doing. Especially resting is a lot of people's things. But you want to know what? There's a different breed that's there on Sundays. You know what I mean? Like I said, we're gonna be going 7 days straight or 12 days straight at this stuff. So you want to know what? Let's get it. You know what I mean? Or actually 11 days, I think. Either way, 11, 12 days, we're going to be going straight at the gym. No rest, no breaks, no nothing. You know what I mean? Haters going to say it's fake. You know what I mean? You need your rest or whatever. But as long as you know how to train your muscles and work around them, rest ain't as important as you think about it. But, I'm only doing this because, my girlfriend's coming into town this weekend, fellas. So, all lifts get bumped up. But regardless, rest days are just not the best days all the time in my mind. You know what I mean? I feel like if there's gains to go chase and there's a chance at losing at them, you might as well go chase those gains. But anyways, fellas, I'm gonna get my ass to the gym. I'll see you guys on the flip when we go and hit this lift.
Alrighty, fellas, so we got coming in here, nice little 185 bench press. I will say I'm gonna start probably coming off with this every workout. Just because, it's a good warm-up to really get all my stuff activated. That's one thing I will say, and I think that's why I fell into my, bad form a little bit with the, bench pressing and stuff. It's because when you start off with 225, it's already a nice working load. But, the one thing is when you're, not coming in warmed up or anything, it's a little difficult. But, once you're warmed up, you're all good. Like, for instance, right here, I just threw it up for 5. I mean, you got to keep in mind, yesterday last video, we were putting up, big numbers, just to throw them around. And, regardless, we did a warm up and stuff, and that's really what helped engage the chest a lot more, I feel like, because the one thing I feel like, it's these bigger muscles that you got to really warm up, like the biceps, triceps. I feel like you can kind of go at them and dog them. But for the most part, I feel like the chest, your back, your lats especially, you know what I mean? You need to warm those muscles up because they're so big. But, right here, we go 185 to then 225. I did a 185 for 10, 225 for 5, and then 225 again for another 5. And then, that's another thing. I really wasn't trying to move heavyweight today because we did that yesterday or last video. Come in, throw 185 around again. I will say, by doing that too, it's not necessarily building, strength all the time. You are doing lower reps, but lesser weight, more reps. You're starting to build muscle that way. Where when you do more weight, less reps, you're going for the strength. You see how you can pawn the 2, or swing the 2. But either way, then we roll into some flies here with 3 sets of 10 with 10-second hold at the end. With this one too, I've actually had to rework and adjust the seat. I've brought it up to engage my chest a lot more, and especially do it a lot more on the regular. Because that's the one thing, when I was sitting a little bit lower, I was starting to get more of my shoulders in it. So now I just set the seat all the way as high as it go, so I have no option other than to just use all of my chest. And squeeze with the core. That's the biggest thing actually with this when you're holding it, and you got to keep that core squeezed to help squeeze the chest. I'm coming over here, bring this one back, straight bar curls, 3 sets of 10. It's been a little minute, but I also probably got away from it, with being bit and stuff like that by the dog. I need a little bit of time for my forearms to heal, and I feel like this is going to be a nice little workout to strengthen them forearms back up because it's been a minute, along with hitting the bicep. I swear the straight bar works its wonders. Let me come over here. We got our motorcycle poles here. 3 plates. I threw a little 10 on the side, so we were pushing a little bit of weight on this, and that's feeling good. Yet again, 3 sets, 10 reps. I will say, on this one, it's been a little while since I played around with the weight, so it felt good. We under what we were pushing it all the way around because yet again here, I did my normal 2 plates, but I slapped some 10s on there for a nice 3 sets 10 yet again. As you can see, I like to no matter what do 3 sets 10 reps, and that at least the working load for me is no less than 7, maybe 6. You know what I mean, in some aspects for certain things, but generally no lower than 7. 10's a good one, and then 12's a little bit. If if you just want a few more extra reps, or you like want to go a little bit lighter with something and do more. More reps. If you're gonna drop the weight a little bit, you gotta do a little bit more weight, in my opinion. Or a little bit more reps. But regardless, come over here on this chest press, 3 sets of 10. Just really, grinding out that chest, working on that, because I feel like, also with having a little bit of bad form with the bench press, I got to build my chest back up again. 3 sets of 12 for the tricep push down. Back to what I was saying, because I had a little bit off time when, hitting my chest, I feel like I set myself back a little bit. So, I've been starting to focus on hitting my chest a lot more again. But, either way, fellas, that's our lift for today.
Here we go, fellas. Great Sunday. Not gonna lie, I like this shirt as a pump cover, so I wore back-to-back days. Oh. Fellas, so that's a wrap on today's lift. You already know it was a good day. We got in there, we ate, a lot of freaking just grinding heart. I'm not gonna lie, low-key watched the Diamonds Gyms, I think it's that, whatever it is, with the Trend Twins. That shit fired me up, low-key. Like, I don't like any of that type of training like that, but like just eating that shit just fired me up. I'm not even gonna lie. Like little fuel in me last night, you know what I mean? I'm not gonna lie. But it's good to see that shit sometimes. But regardless, fellas, for ourselves, went in there and just did what we could, to the fullest of our ability. I didn't superset anything today like I normally did, but it was just like getting in there and, monging that weight around. That's how I was feeling today. And it was feeling good because I really had that mind-muscle connection going pretty well. But, as always, fellas, if you made it this far, please leave a like, subscribe. I appreciate it. And, as always, stay hustling, stay grinding, stay focused. Peace out. See you guys in the next one.